This is Chris Carlson, and welcome to the Boulder Banking Podcast and our series entitled Your Future Self, where we ask community banking leaders what advice they would give to younger versions of themselves. My guest on this episode is Kevin Erickson, SVP and Market President for Independent Bank. Kevin shares the work he's done as a board member and now chair of GSBC, plus the work he's done with the Colorado Bankers Association. Kevin also gives some great advice to his younger self. Hey, Kevin, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Kevin, I'm super excited about our conversation we're going to have today. But before we get started, can you give us a brief background of Kevin Erickson?
Sure. I was born and raised in Devils Lake, North Dakota. Banking was not directly part of my family while I was growing up, but business and real estate was. And with that, I knew several bankers that were friends of my family. And those bankers made a strong impression on me as a kid. So at the age of about 8, I decided to be a banker. I later graduated from the University of North Dakota. I detoured for a while in international finance and then was hired as a bank management credit trainee at a regional bank in Fargo. Once I was done with the trainee program, which included a short stop back in Minnesota, that same bank eventually transferred me to Boulder, Colorado back in 2001. I've been a commercial banker in and around the Boulder area since then, and I now work for Independent Bank as market president. My wife and I have been married for 16 years. She's also from North Dakota. It was in the same management training program in Fargo when we met. She had a 14-year career with the OCC and now is a bank consultant with FinPro, which, as you know, is a well-known name in the GSBC crowd. We have a very busy home life with 2 sets of twins who are 12 and 7. They keep us busy with sports and activities, and we just try to hang on for the ride.
So 2 sets of twins, that's a statistical anomaly, is it not?
It is. I'm not sure how we were so blessed with that, but somebody above thought we needed a challenge, So
you go from Fargo to Boulder. That's quite a transition.
It's a bit of a culture shock. Yeah, those 2 towns are on different ends of the spectrum, but it was a fun change for me, and I've really grown to love Boulder and Colorado. You know, in general, it's a great place to be.
Well, Kevin, GSBC has been a big part of your life, not only as a graduate of GSBC, but as a board member and now the chair for GSBC. What's that experience been like going through that evolution?
Yeah, Chris, GSBC really has been a big part of my life now for the past 20 consecutive years. I started as a student in 2003, graduated in 2005, and then immediately started on the inaugural alumni board in 2006, which then parlayed my time as alumni chair, as the advisor to the board, and then full trustee for the state of Colorado. My time spent on the GSBC board has been so valuable and rewarding. I like to think that I contribute as much as I take away, but with our incredible group, that can be challenging. I feel like over the years, we have really improved and expanded the offerings of GSBC in both the core summer program, as well as taking on the investment school and starting EDI. Every aspect of the school has been improved. One thing, though, that has always been great is the location. Being in Boulder in July is a pretty wonderful place, and is certainly part of the overall GSBC experience that students carry with them. We've had some great leadership and staff in both Tim Koch and now Mike Stevens carrying the torch. And none of that is possible without the amazing staff and obviously great instructors who are always, bringing the latest banking perspectives to our curriculum. With the entire suite of programs that GSBC offers, bankers can always, stay current regarding the issues and opportunities within our industry. As far as being the chair of the school, I would say the chair position feels like my capstone. For all the years that I've spent with the school, it really has been an honor to chair this fine institution, and one that I do not take lightly. I still have a couple more years as trustee before I'm term limited, and a new trustee will take over my position. But I know that GSBC will always be in my heart and at the top of my mind for both myself as well as looking for, the next generation of bankers to carry on the great industry of community banking.
Well, not only are you involved with GSBC, but you're also involved with the Colorado Bankers Association. And the question that I'd like to kind of ask you, as you look at it from that perch, if you will, and obviously we got a lot of stuff going on in the banking world today, but what are the top issues that banks in Colorado are facing right now as you look at it from the Colorado Bankers Association?
Much like other states are dealing with right now, the uncertainties of what our economy is going to do and how much it's going to slow down. We have the same concern of what's happening with FDIC, insurance premiums and coverage in light of the banks that are considered a systemic risk. I think, though, when it comes to Colorado specifics, we have concerns over cost of living. We're one of the more expensive states to live in, not including the coast. Housing prices are a continuous concern for retaining and attracting not only, banking talent, but for our customers and their ability to hire as well. Another concern we have in Colorado, which I see a lot of being sitting on the board of the Colorado Bankers Association, is our state legislature. Right now, our state legislature has a super majority. So they are we see a tremendous number of bills that easily make their way through that are not good for business, and some can have a direct effect on banking. Over the years, I feel like Colorado has been a business-friendly state, but I'm concerned that's changing for us. Our Colorado Bankers Association does everything we can to help protect our banking industry, and I think does a very good job of that. But despite the concerns and issues, I think we continue to have financially strong banks in Colorado, which operate in a consistently strong Colorado economy. And I'd say it's a pretty desirable place to live, despite some of those challenges still.
Well, Kevin, obviously people know that in Colorado, marijuana is legalized. Does the state association take a position or have to deal with those issues?
Yeah, Colorado is one of the very first states to pass any legislation for marijuana. So Colorado Bankers Association was put on the hot seat right away and did a great job of disseminating information to banks, but also from a national perspective as well. I would say that Colorado Bankers Association doesn't necessarily take a specific stance on for or against the idea of marijuana, but rather just wanting to be able to, take deposits, be able to satisfy the needs of that industry, which for years has been, a federal issue that really hasn't been taken up very well in Congress, but one that we hope to probably have a solution for as more and more states legalize some level of marijuana. But it's been nice that Colorado no longer is at the epicenter of marijuana, as so many states have passed legislation.
Yeah, I appreciate that feedback. Well, Kevin, you've been in banking for a number of years. And so the question that we are having in this series about your future self, if you were able to go back in time to the beginning of the career of the young Kevin, and knowing what you know now with all that experience and from GSBC and Colorado Bankers Association, what advice would you give to the brand new banker, Kevin Erickson?
I would tell my younger self to be patient. Coming out of college, it's not unusual to want to quickly climb the ranks. However, a career isn't a sprint. There's so much opportunity in the banking industry to grow and have a long-lasting and, most importantly, rewarding and stable career. I would also tell myself that, relationships are vitally important. I would say it's relationships on all levels, personal and professional. So many of my banking relationships can be traced back to GSBC from, when I was first a student and then also my time on the board. And because of those relationships, I have such great resources and depth in knowing so many bankers from across the country, as well as consultants to the industry that have been the instructors. I think back a lot to my first manager, Keith Dickelman, who's still a friend. He's a GSBC alum, and he's the first one that introduced and encouraged me to attend GSBC. and talked about that value in developing relationships with other bankers. He's also the one that got me involved in the Colorado Bankers Association, which that has been a great place of learning industry, the government relations for our industry, and again, the opportunity to develop those relationships. There's been some incredible bankers who have been my mentors and friends in my life that have given me great direction and opportunities. And, I always remind and challenge myself to be that same type of leader and mentor for the next generation of bankers so I can pay it forward to them personally while also doing my part to promote our industry.
Great thoughts. Kevin, I want to go a little bit deeper on the word you use, relationship. And here's my question to you. Certainly the tools that are available for all of us to remain in contact with people are much greater than they ever were. And so it's easier to theoretically keep in touch and contact these people. But do you find that the younger people are taking full advantage of the tools to maintain the relationships, or are we challenged with the tools maybe getting in the way of personal face-to-face relationships?
Yeah, I think the younger generation obviously embraces the technology more than older generations and mid-generation bankers. But I think that we have all these tools, at our disposal to use them to their full extent. I certainly still like the face-to-face more than anything, but the opportunity to get the use of technology to use as just another tool, I think is valuable, and it's not going anywhere, right? I mean, it's going to continually be part of what we do and how we communicate. But again, I think even the younger generation would say this, a good face-to-face meeting is still better than, it's something electronic. But if electronic can get you more, opportunities to connect, then so be it. We should use that as a tool.
Appreciate that feedback. Kevin, look, I know you have a lot of stuff going on. I mean, not only your day job, but all of your contributions to GSBC and the Colorado Bankers Association. So I really appreciate you taking time out of that schedule to visit with us today.
Absolutely, Chris. My pleasure. This was a great opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks.